you like the Palo Santo?
Hi, and welcome back to Chérie, It's a Process. My name is M.
And I'm A.
And here we are again. And just first off, this is our 10th episode. I feel like we need to celebrate.
I know. I realised that today when I was looking through our notes. I was like, oh wow. Can't believe it.
It's kind of cool. That's cool.
Yeah, also, just gonna say this. My cat has just walked in and started meowing, so if you do hear something, it is her. Maybe we will cut it out.
That's cute. No, I love that.
But she just needs a moment.
That's fine.
It's the time of Spotify Wrapped. And I think what is really taking the internet by storm is Spotify telling you what age you are. And when I saw it, when it... I know, I saw it, it was like, because I don't think I've ever seen it before, and it suddenly said, oh, it's good, and this is your average listening age. And I was like, oh God, I bet I'm gonna get such an old age. Like, I was so like panicking, and then I like opened up to the next thing, and it said, guess what it said?
Well, I know.
Oh, okay. Well, you guys have a guess. I was shocked. I didn't know if I should be flattered or offended.
What was it?
But it was 24.
When you told me that, when you texted me that, I actually got really upset because I was like, how dare you get something younger than your actual age and I get something way older. We're talking like 50 years older.
Okay, but you have to, what is your age?
My Spotify age is 74, which is a fucking joke. Also, for some reason, my most played song was Wild World. And like, I know I love that song and I do listen to it a lot, but like, I don't listen to it that much. I feel like there's...
Yeah, also, I think...
It's done really weirdly. It's done weirdly.
Yeah, what shocked me as well, because I feel like I use a lot of your playlists and I also listen to a lot of, like, we listen to a lot of music in common.
Yeah.
And I think when I found out that you had, like, I was like, wait, what?
Yeah, it was weird.
Because I feel like, but, yeah, so I think...
I mean, then again, wasn't it your most played artist or something? Some French rapper that your boyfriend listens to?
Yeah, so my boyfriend uses my Spotify when he's driving. And he doesn't drive that much. But my most listened to artist, I think, was...
Artist.
Yeah, a French rapper.
Well, so I heard as well that the way Spotify does it is by, like, the intensity of it. So, like, for example, I know you guys took a lot of long drives this year. Or not a lot, but a few. And that means for a lot of hours you were listening to this in a very short amount of time. And I think that's how they calculate it. So they don't take average.
Maybe.
Like, you could be listening to one song all of February, and then that will be your top one at the end of the year. So it's not really, I don't know. It's not that fun anymore, to be honest. I feel like Spotify Wrapped, I used to be so excited for, and now it's just... It doesn't... I just go, huh?
I was a bit underwhelmed by it, but
Very
I mean, you guys, listeners, can also let us know in the comments.
I would love to know what people's
Instagram.
ages are. That was amazing.
Yeah.
That was quite funny, though. Love to know what people's ages are. That's really funny.
Yeah, I think that's kind of the highlight, but the rest of it definitely was a bit underwhelmed compared to the last years.
That's true. Anyway, I still feel a little offended. I mean, 74? It's a bit much.
It's okay, we can share my age.
I will gladly. All right, let's move into the pocket magic then.
Pocket magic.
This week's pocket magic is for those people who are unprepared, like me, for Christmas and then realise last minute Christmas presents need to happen and you end up just creating a bunch of massage vouchers and giving one to each of your family members. Stop laughing at me.
No, I used to do that as a kid. I get it. Or like a hug voucher.
Yeah, exactly. Hug voucher, massage voucher, playtime voucher, board game voucher. Anyway, we will be posting on Instagram a list of present ideas. Something small, affordable, fun, different things.
Some things that we found.
Yeah, that will be over on our Instagram account, Sherry It's a Process.
Yeah.
We'll also put a link in the show notes. So if you do need some inspiration and haven't prepared in advance,
just a little teaser. There's a really cool game over there that I recently found and played with my friends during Friendsgiving, and it was a big hit. So definitely a little teaser. Go over there, have a look.
Yeah.
I'm going to start us off with a quote. Healing the self has required me to be so focused on figuring out who I am, but I'm coming to find out that I don't always need to be searching. That at a certain point of this self-discovery, we reach a certain autonomy that is governed by a higher consciousness, by God, a divine connection that starts from within. It is a discovery that is through the embodiment of love.
Okay.
It's a beautiful quote.
Ooh. Very nice quote, but it doesn't tell me what this week's episode is about.
Okay, fine. I thought it was very telling.
Okay, sorry for us.
No, I'm.
If you didn't get that, please explain.
I'm joking. It's a very no. It's a great quote though. It's very beautiful. I think at some point it is just letting go. Anyway, this week we're talking about two very specific gene keys, which is the number 10 and number 58. And the reason why I chose these two is because in this gene key universe, there is a gene key for each week of the year. And it changes over every 5 to 6 days. So between the 19th of December and the 25th of December, it will be the gene key number 10. And then from the 25th to the 30th of December, it will be gene key 58. And that's the two that we're talking about today.
Okay, so how are they determined and why do they show up in these specific days?
Well, the idea is that it's based on the movement of the sun. That's how they work. And the sun moves through different positions, and then that's depending on where the sun is where the gene keys are. And the sun travels through each of the 64 gene keys, and within each gene key it moves through 6 so-called line permutations. That's also why it's 5 to 6 days, because within the gene key it moves through these line permutations, and over approximately the 5.5 days, something like that. And then it goes to the next gene key.
Okay, just new word. I hadn't associated that with gene keys. Line permutations? What does that mean?
It's a lot more complex and deserves its own episode. Let's not go into it. What you need to know is that because of the movement of the sun, the gene key changes.
Okay. I'll put that
week
to the side right now.
Yes, and we can focus on that another day because it is an interesting one, but it's way too complex to go into right now. So we're just going to focus on the two that I brought today.
Okay, but just one more thing. So we all have a personal chart with gene keys in it, but there is also one gene key for every week. What is the difference between my personal chart and the ones that
just happen regularly
during the week?
Yeah. Well, the idea is yes, we have all our own individual ones, and they come with our own individual challenges and are a lot more specific to us in different phases of our life. That's what the chart shows. But there are 64 gene keys, and it doesn't mean that all the other ones that are not in your chart are not relevant to you. So because the idea at the end of the day is that each gene key is a topic that everyone can relate to on some level, and you should contemplate on all of them. So sure, some might not be as relevant or challenging to you personally, but they can still be interesting to think about or observe in your own life. The idea at the end of the day is that they're kind of like a guide, and a guide to a more open and honest and loving life. I guess a good example is it's a little bit like contemplating a philosophy. You're not always gonna take all of it in at all times, but little parts of it might be interesting to you, and then you can, that knowledge you can use. That's the best way to describe it. That's the way I understood it personally.
So just to clarify, the weekly ones are there to help you be guided through the year.
Yeah.
Even though the ones that might not come up and be relevant to your chart or in your chart, they can still help you guide through conflicts you might be going through. I don't know if any of that made sense.
Yeah, I mean, just because there's a gene key during a week, like for example 10 and 58, we don't have those. Either one of us doesn't have that. But it can still help you and guide you, and it can still be an interesting one to contemplate within this week. Yeah, that's it. That's what you said. It can still help you. Yeah.
Okay.
So we're going to start with Gene Key 10, which is, this one starts on the 19th. So it will start after this episode comes out, but because we're going into a break, we're going to talk about that later anyway, and more specifically, let's make a side note of that. But this starts on the 19th of December, and it will go through until the 25th of December. And it's the so-called Christmas gene key, which it was the last couple years as well. So it's usually the days are very similar each year because the sun doesn't do a lot of changing. Mm-hmm. So this was also a gene key the previous years. And this gene key, the number 10, so the shadow is self-obsession, the gift is naturalness, and the Siddhi is being. And we're just going to go into all of those. But in general, the 10th gene key represents self-love. And I have a little excerpt from Richard Rudd's teaching about this gene key, just in his own words. As you embrace your potential to live life authentically as yourself, you empower others to do the same. And the blessing is that the more different we allow ourselves and the others to be, the more humanity will operate as a unity. Such a beautiful paradox. Only through our very diversity can we arrive at our unity. And I just love that. It's so good. Because I think people are so obsessed with being unique, but then also like not trying to trail off too much. And it's only through the diversity that it's just by being yourself at the end of the day. Anyway, it's fascinating. So we're going to start off with self-obsession, which is the shadow of this gene key. And so what Richard Rudd says about self-obsession is that we all suffer from it. It's not just... And this is where gene keys can all help and guide you, even if you don't have it in your chart. Because, for example, self-obsession is something that we all suffer from, and it's not necessarily a bad thing, but let's go into it a little bit. The way he describes it is, we worry about our lives, our future, our clothes, our food, what others think of us. We hide in our busyness, in our jobs, through our studies. We've completely forgotten how to relax and do nothing. We've forgotten how dreamy life can be. We're obsessed with knowing where we're going, knowing who we are, and finding our purpose. The root of this self-obsession is a deep fear of losing our identity, leading to a constant quest for self-definition. While a bit of self-focus is normal, at the shadow level it can become a trap, preventing genuine self-discovery. And overcoming the shadow will reveal the 10th gift.
So how do you overcome it? Is there something I can do?
Well, the only real thing you need to overcome this one is to be aware of it, to see the pattern, to then transform it. So through you doing nothing, from simply seeing how manic you've become, and then also like by exploring the shadow deeply, getting to know it intimately, your life will just change. It's as simple as that, really. But you will slow down, you'll begin to enjoy life, you'll experience it again properly. And the way he says it is, so few of us really experience life because we're so obsessed with our problems and our challenges. So it's just by observing and seeing that we're doing this, that it can transform. And I also have a kind of an important quote that relates to the shadow, which is, there is a self-responsibility that must take place in order for us to find deeper love.
Yeah, I mean, I suppose Richard Rudd has a point. I've nearly had about a decade of therapy, and it's really helped me become self-aware And I think what the quote and also what he's saying before that is me becoming self-aware has resulted in me being able to also look past myself and my own self-obsession and to tune into my surroundings.
Yeah. And becoming
What about you?
aware. Yeah. I mean, self-responsibility, I actually went to dinner yesterday with a friend, and it was really interesting because we were talking about self-responsibility as well. So it's been kind of a theme for me lately. And I have become very aware of how I react to things and where and when I slip into that victim role and avoid to take responsibility. And through this awareness, I have noticed how much of a difference self-responsibility actually makes. And this can happen in like the smallest things. Like, for example, someone doesn't take responsibility for getting a coffee order wrong and like blames someone else for it. And it's seemingly unimportant at that point, but the problem with self-responsibility, the way I see it, is that it starts in those small things, because it will most likely become a common theme throughout one's life, and it will make a massive impact in the long run. And it changes the way people relate to you, your friends, clients, colleagues, family, anyone, really. It doesn't matter how close or far away they are from you or how detached they are. And I know it sounds kind of cliche, and like you said as well, it does have to start within oneself. You do have to do the work. And then once you do take responsibility for your actions, and small or big, and your words, and even your state of mind, others will naturally gravitate towards you. On the flip side, they will start stepping away. That's kind of how I see it. I know that I've definitely done this not enough in my life. I've definitely played the victim one too many times. And I have done the work though, and like you said earlier, gone to therapy and evolved. And it's hard and still evolving. It's not that I'm a perfect human, but it's possible. It's possible to take responsibility, and it's hard to do that though. And yeah, I ain't perfect. But it's once you start doing the work and once you start realizing it, is like I personally can't stand for it anymore when others can't or won't take responsibility. And I get like a physical repulsion for it now. I hate it. It's so frustrating to me as well. And I mean, a lot of friendships and relationships have ended because of it. Really, at the end of the day, you can kind of bring it back down to self-responsibility, or the lack of self-responsibility.
Yeah, I think both of us are still doing the work, and it never does really stop. I think we can still keep evolving, and I'm not as enthusiastic about gene keys as you are. But I have realized that the work and the healing I'm going through in therapy is similar to the process that Richard Rudd talks about, and the accepting of the shadow, which leads to better things. And I mean, now that we've talked so much about the shadow, what about the 10th, the gift of the 10th gene key?
The gift of the 10th.
Can you tell me about that?
Yeah, that's true. We did talk a lot about that. So once you do work through that, and the way he says is that the gift can only come into fruition when self-obsession exhausts itself. And the gift, once self-obsession is exhausted itself, is naturalness. And the idea of naturalness is a softening of our edges. The way Richard Rudd says this: the first great revelation that will come from exploring your own unique nature is you cannot be defined by any kind of label. So this is going to sound a little woo-woo, I understand that, but bear with me. Once you understand that you are neither your name, nor your actions, feelings, thoughts, or beliefs, you realize that human nature is something far greater and wider than you ever expected. It's a place of defenselessness. It's the true center of who you are, allowing you to express your unique creativity. Being natural means being yourself, you embracing your authenticity. And this gift leads to creativity and playfulness. In essence, it's about finding simplicity and ease within yourself when you stop resisting life. yeah, this is what I want. Simplicity and ease. I would love
My cat
that.
just agreed. I don't know if you heard that.
That is amazing. Yes, exactly. We all want it.
I think you're not the only one.
No.
I mean, I think you listeners can also let us know in the comments if you want this too. But I do see how letting go of your self-obsession, or self-obsession in general, or for example, my anxiety, and truly embracing who I really am has left me feeling calmer in myself. That is to say, I do have days where my anxiety is really high and I do feel a bit self-obsessed. But I think I'm aware of my actions. And I think this is also how I personally interpret what Richard Rudd is saying. Whether you get it through the gene keys or if you get it through therapy or other means, being self-aware has really helped me feel safe and secure within myself.
Yeah, I get that. And also, like, having some anxiety and being self-obsessed isn't necessarily a bad thing. It only becomes that negative shadow if we're so deeply in that, shithole of self-obsession. Yeah, I agree with you. And also the gene keys are just themes and topics that we each go through. And if that, like you said, if that's through therapy or other ways, I think they're more guidelines and things like, oh, have you thought about this? Or, hey, do you see this? And hey, if you actually like work through this is where you can end up. It's just it's not a solution. It's not an answer. It's just another way of looking at life.
So what's the Siddhi?
Yeah, so the Siddhi, I just want to clarify this. It's not city, because you mentioned this to me the other day, and I just want to clarify it for everyone. It's not a city, like Paris is a city. No, we're talking about the Siddhi, which is spelled Siddhi. There you go. And we can actually put these in the show notes as well. We'll write the gene key and the shadow and the gift and the Siddhi. And the Siddhi is always the highest enlightenment moment, basically. So this, if you thought it sounded woo-woo, this is...
Sorry.
No, go ahead. Tell me.
I think why I thought that it was a city was because you're talking about enlightenment, and going back to the first Gene Key episode, I was like, okay, yeah, the city of enlightenment is this. That was my logical
it's true. It makes sense. I need to look up what the definition of city actually is, because maybe there is a definition. But I like the way you think about it, because honestly, you're not far off. That's how I don't know how far off you are, but that's how I like thinking about it too. I have maybe it's the holy city of each gene key.
Yeah. Maybe it's also my dyslexic brain, and I think often I heard you say city, and I often saw the word written in our notes, and I was like, yeah, what's this weird word? And then at some point a couple of days ago you go, yeah, city, and I'm like, wait, it's not a city? I was like, oh, okay. I was like, oh, but then my board game doesn't work. But I suppose, yeah.
Well, you can still turn
it's
it
my
into
own
a city.
Random brain analogy metaphor for it.
That's totally fine. We love seeing how your brain works. It's cute. Anyway, okay, back on track. The Siddhi of the 10th gene key is divine laziness. This is, I absolutely, I love that there is something that, like, those two words next to each other make me happy. Divine laziness. And in Richard Rudd's own words, there is no meaning to life. There is no hidden secret. There is just the beauty of this moment turning into the next one. Naturalness, so the gift that we were just talking about, arrives at being. It's like a special state you reach after fully expressing your true self through the 10th gift. In this state, everything dissolves. Not just yourself, but also thoughts, forms, and purpose. The only word that kind of captures this state is being. It's like experiencing pure consciousness, where there's no sense of I. People in this state find life to be like a game, seeing everything as a sort of illusion. They feel a deep lightness and humor about life, understanding that even big goals are ultimately not that important. It's a state of profound simplicity, where the focus is on the wonder of the present moment. While it may seem like doing nothing to others, it holds incredible power, reminding us to rest in being while still enjoy the adventure of life. So the ones that have reached the Siddhi, they understand the art of divine laziness, recognizing that sometimes doing nothing can hold great power and insight. I mean, I don't really think this is your gene key, love. And I'm very sure that this is not in your chart. But I do, and this is why these are important to all of us, I think you can learn a lot from this gene key, especially to just like arriving and being, and it being okay. And humor, playfulness.
I mean, I think for me, gene keys can be a bit intense, and my dyslexia gets irritated by the big ominous words.
Yeah.
But I do see the process behind each gene key and what you need to go through to arrive at the city.
Yeah.
Not the city, but so I suppose I do agree with the process part of it. I just find the writing and the reading part of it a bit too intense for me.
I know, I get that. And it takes me a while too. But those are the words you need to know. Playfulness, humor, light, simplicity, divine laziness.
Embrace that during Christmas.
Exactly.
But still be helpful to the family, of course. Find a balance.
Well, yeah, don't be lazy in the sense of don't do shit. Help your mom cook. Be nice. But so just to kind of finish off this gene key a little bit, I brought a question for you and also for you, dear listener, which is a contemplation question specifically for this gene key. And it is one that you can kind of ask yourself in that week of Christmas, so between the 19th and the 25th. And also for you, maybe that will kind of make things a bit more simpler and you don't have to think of all these big words, but it's just a question to kind of ask yourself and hold in your mind during this craziness of Christmas, which is, can you spend some time this week just hanging out in the lazy simplicity of your pure being?
Yeah, I mean, you already said it, but I think all of us should keep this question in mind during the period.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, for me, I definitely see how during this period, stress and self-obsession definitely comes out. And I've also realized it's much easier for me to handle Christmas if I slip into the state of simply being. Being natural, not fighting, not kind of battling those conflicts. If I just let it kind of not roll over me, that's wrong, but just, feeling myself, feeling secure on myself.
Breathing.
Yeah.
I think that's the thing. I think that's so good. It's good that you said roll over, because that's not what it's supposed to be either. You're not supposed to just take everything on and then after this period be even more annoyed than you were before. That's not supposed to work either. It's let it roll off of you, right? Let it bounce off of you, because you're just in this state of, I'm going to enjoy the moment. I am going to, just let it bounce off of you. Don't let it get to you. Obviously, it's interesting. I agree. The fact that it's like specifically this around Christmas. It's like, I think there is a natural state of calm or even gratefulness, and I think that's there anyway, just because of the weather changes and the darkness of everything. But also being with family and the holidays, and it can be very stressful. And for a lot of people, it's quite traumatizing in some ways as well. Luckily for me, it's not that bad, but it can be hard. It's not that traumatizing. I actually like being with my family. The other, I have two families, right? And like the one side is really nice and the other is a lot more difficult. So I have to learn to just be and just remind myself that like, I am grateful that I have them. I'm grateful that we're here. And if they say comments that are way out of bounds and not okay, I'm gonna just, breathe through it and be, and maybe also snap back where it's appropriate.
Okay, but earlier you mentioned there's a second gene key during the
Yes.
Christmas period. Should we move on to that before we dissect your
Look at my uncle's
your extended
comments
family?
Yes. Okay. Gene key 58. So it moves from shadow of dissatisfaction, and it has the gift of vitality and the Siddhi of bliss.
Okay, so that's the week of the 25th of December until the 30th of
Yes.
December.
Exactly.
So even more kind of Christmas, deep family time. Can it help us navigate that kind of tumultuous, intense time for some of us?
I guess it can, yeah. I think this is also very much like my own interpretation of it, but I think it reminds us to flow and to not attack, right? So it's similar to the Gene Key 10, but it is it's about staying calm and finding joy, even if it's hard. And family, like I said earlier, can be very triggering. It can be a triggering experience, especially around Christmas when emotions are really heightened. So it's important to find bliss and joy within ourselves. Often that starts only within ourselves, if that answers your question.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, tell me more.
Okay. Tell you more. You're excited. All right.
Can't you see it?
So before I go into the shadow and the gift and the Siddhi, I'm going to just give a short explanation that I found, which I thought was really interesting, of like the general 58th gene key. So the ancients named the 58th gene key the joyous. Yet how can we have joy without sadness? Loss is a part of human life. Those we love leave us. Our hearts get attached and then they get broken. How we deal with loss is a deep, deep part of our learning within this gene key. It's actually an opening to a series of insights and breakthroughs that come about as we meet life face to face. And this takes courage. We have to let life cut us. We have to learn to bow to our suffering.
That's intense, but I suppose the shadow always is.
Yeah, and this is actually not the shadow yet. This is just a prequel. If you can call it that, it's just a prequel. So
Yeah, no words.
I felt like I had to put it in because I think it's quite an intense gene key. It's one of the very kind of more intense for me, at least, because loss and suffering is just a hard one to talk about. Let's talk about the shadow. So the shadow is dissatisfaction. In short, we go from stress to bliss. It's all about learning the hard lesson, which is seeking pleasure or relief on the outside can never remove the ache of dissatisfaction we feel in our souls. Very simple and straightforward. I think it is, at least. And it's definitely one I can relate to. And I have also started to observe within me. One thing for me personally, which I just thought of, was like alcohol. Because I stopped drinking alcohol, at least, I mean, I drink a glass or here or there. I'm not completely teetotal. But I have stopped drinking alcohol on a regular.
I reduced it quite.
I mean, I went from like drinking every single day and like it being my job to now drinking once every 3 to 4 months, 1 glass of Prosecco, if even. So I've very, very, very radically reduced it. But with that reduction, I have definitely also uncovered some dissatisfaction deep within me, because that pleasure or relief, which used to be alcohol, isn't there anymore. It uncovered a lot. So I think that's like that's just something, my own little nudge to it. Can you relate to this gene key at all? Is not something.
Yeah, I think I can relate to it a little bit.
Or the shadow.
I think
Do you want to share in what way?
Yeah, I'm a bit of an avoidant. Yeah, I'm a bit avoidant to the topic because I don't want to feel hurt inside. it doesn't feel nice. And then again, I think at the same time, though, at the back of my mind, there is a kind of quiet voice saying that I need to move past it and I need to process it. And I think subconsciously I always am processing it, but even though I don't want to acknowledge it and I'm avoidant to it, I think there's still kind of a processing going on.
Yeah, which I think is important. And to not give in to kind of covering up that dissatisfaction all the time is a good thing as well, right?
I mean, finding the balance between the avoidant and the subconscious processing and letting that happen as well.
Yeah, exactly. Because sometimes it's okay to have a bit of distraction. We're not all supposed to be in pain all the time. But giving that time to also, to let it be processed is important, and to not only ever avoid it. So I get that.
Do you want to talk about the gift?
Yes, let's move on to the gift. And the gift is vitality. So it's the joy of service, in other words. So what is this about? This is the gift of vitality it's an unstoppable force. Let's say it that way. And that once set in motion cannot be turned back. So our growing awareness becomes like a soft rain that falls upon the dissatisfaction. Such a cute sentence. I love that explanation of it. Our growing awareness becomes like a soft rain that falls upon the dissatisfaction. And then it sprouts into creativity and service. And the great secret of this gene key is service. So to serve the whole, to serve others, to use that seeking energy, that precious fuel to help others. And it's not as a means to escape your own feelings, but as a means to feel human, to feel that you have a higher purpose, and to know that your purpose will in some way improve an aspect of our beautiful world. So this one's really interesting because I love helping and serving, but I know I also have a bit of a savior complex. So I am here.
You don't say.
I am here questioning to what extent am I helping and it's actually serving myself and the others, and it's like to the greater good and a higher purpose. And at what point does it just become toxic or unhealthy and an unhealthy complex? So
I mean, I do have a lot of opinions on that topic, but I think for now I'm going to keep them to myself because we're here talking about the 58th gene key and not your savior complex.
That's fair.
Even though it brings me joy and makes me laugh when we talk about it.
I'm glad that my complex makes you enjoy. That's lovely. No, you're right. It should be just another episode, which it probably will be at some point, but it's still a beautiful gift. And I think finding that balance and, having a higher purpose is a wonderful thing. And moving away from that dissatisfaction or that kind of just ugliness and avoidance and covering things up and then using that positive energy to help others it's a wonderful thing to do. Okay, the Siddhi. So once you move through all the shadow and you reach that gift and you're now having found your higher purpose, you move into the Siddhi. And the Siddhi is bliss. In other words, it's beyond focus. And the way they describe it is true bliss is utter stillness. It's unmoving, unflinching. It's eternal as we are. Can you imagine bliss inside yourself? All your seeking coming to an end. For most of us, this may be something of a dream. Yet, have you ever experienced a moment of bliss? If so, use that as a seed and water its memory, or imagine what a moment of bliss would feel like, and then flood yourselves with that memory over and over again. Cultivate it until it becomes stronger. This is a great and powerful practice, and it's actually as practical as the Siddhis get. I am very much a person who's like, I want practicality. I want to be able to do things to then get through these things because I hate just feeling and sitting in crap. I think it's annoying and it gets very frustrating and I get very angry with it. That's just me personally. So the fact that finally we have a Siddhi where you could actually do something more practical makes me really happy. And I love that. I actually have one, and I would love to know yours in a second as well, eh? But my bliss moment is one that I have also used in EMDR sessions. It's a form of therapy. And it is a tree that I used to, I mean, many of us, I'm not the only one, a lot of people that went to our boarding school love this tree and have their own connection with this tree. But for me, it's been such a safe haven. And that memory of sitting with the tree, the sunset with that, and just feeling the energy of the tree has always been it's a very calming and grounding and relaxing and very blissful moment to me, and a blissful thing that I really should flood myself more often with that memory, because it's a very, very beautiful thing for me and very powerful. That's it. It's the tree of Brockwood. What is yours?
Yeah, I mean, I think I do see the tree as well, and I know exactly which one I'm talking about. I can also see the sunset, and it's kind of quite a special place.
Tree.
But then, this last year, I think also I've spent a lot of time in Germany at my parents' place in the countryside. I think when I think back to that, it also helps me recuperate. And even though when it rains, there's frogs that come out, and it's really scary for me. I mean, people that know me know my phobia of frogs. But the place, I think, still gives me inner peace, similar to the spot in Brockwood. But I think also it's funny that the 10th and the 58th gene key are kind of stress and self-obsession and dissatisfaction all around Christmas, which has always, I mean, for me, has always been part of my Christmas experience. And I think accepting the bliss and the neutralness during that time stops the friction that I feel in myself during those 2 weeks. So I think it is funny, the kind of that they come up in that time period.
Yeah. And like, I think everyone can relate that, like, people are very much just, focused on themselves, but then also trying not to be, and the stress and the heightened emotions around Christmas. It's true. You said it. And maybe that can help other people, those 2 gene keys, maybe they can help other people Christmas time. That is what I was trying to say. Anyway, I am very glad that although, you struggle with the gene keys a little bit, I am happy to hear that there are things that you can take away from today, and that, it sounds like you're like, oh, okay, this is something I can actually implement, or like, think about. And I think that's really cool. And I also like that it reminds us to just, be still and just to be grateful and unmoving, like they said in the, bliss and stillness, one last time before the year ends and the next year comes. And I think that's also a good time of year to do exactly that, to really not just reflect, but to also just sit in stillness and not just think of the last year, but also just think of the moment that you're in that very moment. I don't know if any of that makes sense. I feel like I'm trailing off, but
I think you are.
Coming back to everything, during my research for this episode and going through the gene keys and reading about them, I came across a quote that I just want to share with you, which is, one of the greatest teachings of the gene keys is to remind us that loss is not what it seems. It's actually an opening to greater joy. The one who appears to have left is actually allowing us to feel more whole. That's the sole reason for their leaving. So it was a quote I found, and I thought it fit with everything. And
yeah,
maybe...
I think this probably sums up the whole topic of the episode quite well.
Yeah.
And it also resonated with me because a couple of weeks ago we talked about, friendships ending.
Yes.
Hope everyone has listened to that episode, by the way. Little check-in followers. Them, the friends kind of leaving my life.
Yeah.
Also, it made me feel those things, but also I was able to grow and learn from them at the same time.
Yeah. I think that's really what the Gene Keys are about at the end of the day. So even if it's, heavy words and hard to understand sometimes, at the end of the day, it's just, if you really like kind of deep dive into it a little bit, or even just a little bit, you can start understanding, oh, these are just things that happen in my life anyway, or these are things that I'm going through in therapy or whatever. And I think that specific quote, and the reason why I also put it in here, is because it's very much resonated with me, and I wanted to also serve as a reminder for myself, but also everyone out there, that there is no need to chase after things to fill some void we might feel, and instead to just sit with that void and to try to fill it from within. Fill it with things that are already here, that we don't have to go and chase, but that are just in front of us. And I think for me, it really resonates, or it kind of hits home, because of this 3-year relationship that I just ended. And it definitely left, and it, still is a void that, is, and it's a hole. Even if I was the one who chose to leave the relationship, it still sucks. And I still lost someone that was very precious to me. And I've really been noticing and trying to fill that hole, not just with avoiding things and things to cover it up, but to really fill it with being with my friends, with you, and endless phone calls that have, helped me and be able to talk through everything, and living close to my parents again and being able to talk to them and having their support, and like them coming this afternoon, and it's lovely. And then obviously I forgot the most important thing I just realized. When I am cold and alone in bed at night, I have a new buddy. And no, it's nothing sexual. Don't you be thinking about some kind of vibrating thing. No, that's not what it's about.
I don't know. You're saying it.
No.
You put that mind in our,
I know I have dirty friends. I know everyone's going to be thinking that. That's not what we're talking about. No, I have a new hot water bottle. And I just realized also we need to add that to the Pocket Magic list of Christmas gifts, because it's incredible. It's a new hot water bottle, and it's a bear, and his name is Siegmund. I've named him, and he keeps me warm at night, and I cuddle him at night, and it's amazing. So things like that, it's filled my void of sad and depressing breakup situation, but let's not go into it too much. So
I'm just seeing Freud over here. I'm like, oh god, she's
Freud?
cuddling Freud.
Oh, because Siegmund. Oh yeah, no, it's his great nephew.
Yeah, this is getting weirder and weirder. I think it's time to stop the episode.
Anyway, I just wanted to say that, it takes a lot of bravery to, really also discuss these things and to open up. And I'm very grateful to you, A. And I'm very grateful that even if you're not the biggest fan of the Gene Keys, as I am, but that you're still going to have these conversations with me, and that we can still dig deep.
I think I just struggle to understand them. Sorry I interrupted you, but
no, you're fine. Do you, now that we've kind of talked about it and dissected it a little bit and broke it down,
it makes sense to me.
Okay,
I think
perfect.
It makes sense,
That's
but
all I need
sometimes
to
the
know.
wording, I'm a bit like, oh, that's a bit intense.
I get that. But I'm glad that by us talking about it, things are starting to kind of make more sense. That's really good.
Yeah. And I think what we also need to end with, and I think we've mentioned it a couple times now as well, we will be going on a Christmas break.
Yes.
We've done 10 episodes.
Yeah, I think it's a round number. And I think everyone should just go and enjoy their Christmas. That's what we're going to do.
You'll still see us on Instagram, and we'll have some information out there, and a little bit of what we're doing.
We're not falling from the face of the earth.
But we will be back on the 11th of January.
11th of January. So 11th?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay.
She's not with it at all.
No idea. I just create episodes. That's all I do. I don't know about the rest. The others deal with the rest.
So I think with this, I know it's still a couple of weeks to Christmas, but we wish you a
it's only
Merry
like
Christmas.
a week or
It's
a
2
week?
weeks.
2
No.
weeks. Well, a week and a half.
14th, week and a half.
10 days.
Yeah.
10 days. 10 days.
Yeah.
Crazy.
So I think, we wish you a
I'm
very Merry
excited.
Christmas.
Yeah.
Hope
Merry
you all
Christmas.
enjoy the Christmas parties and the Christmas
Also,
cheer and the New
A
Year's.
happy New Year.
Yeah.
Because we won't be hearing you before that. And I hope everyone enjoys and enjoy the time with your family. Re-listen to this episode if you need, to remember all the questions and
And there'll be a lot of information on the show notes as well, the links
always.
that we use.
Absolutely.
Merry Christmas and take care.
Merry Christmas. Bye.